We have some breaking news in the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks have finally hired a new general manager, Patrik Allvin. We'll discuss his background, what this means for the team moving forward, and their direction coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some breaking news from the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks GM search has finally come to a close, and they've hired former Penguin Patrik Allvin. Now, as I reported last night, there was reports that they were down to the final five. The interviews had been conducted, and it was believed that even Matthew Darche might be the guy, but we've heard Patrik Allvin's name all along as being a potential not only candidate but front runner for this job, given the fact that he's got a long history with Jim Rutherford, somebody he knows very well, and obviously, he would still interview for the position, but somebody that he would have a lot of respect for and wouldn't bring him in for an interview if he wasn't confident in his ability to get things done. So Patrik Allvin comes along from the Pittsburgh Penguins after spending 16 years in their organization. He originally first worked in the NHL under the Montreal Canadiens for, I think it was 4 to 5 years as a European scout before making the jump to Pittsburgh. Before that, he himself was a hockey player. He was a defenseman, played 9 years of different levels of pro hockey, most of which was in Europe, some in North America at the lower pro levels, so like the East Coast League and the now defunct IHL. So he never really made it a high-level pro, at least not in North America. But obviously, he comes from a solid hockey background. After making the jump to Pittsburgh, he was a European scout and became the head European scout over time, and then became the director of amateur scouting, obviously, which is a big jump for him. And then from there, he worked himself into an assistant GM role, which was the last title he held for the last number of years with the Penguins. So clearly Allvin was 47 years old, he's got a ton of scouting experience, obviously a scouting background, obviously previous GM Jim Benning also comes from a scouting background. So you would think that given the fact that the Canucks have a lot of European prospects and top young European players, that should bode well for how he will handle things in Vancouver. Looks like he's a very hardworking, smart guy. Brian Burke, the president of the Penguins, gave him a good recommendation. I know he gave a nice vote of confidence quote to Vancouver media regarding him. There should be a press conference introducing Allvin this afternoon coming up. It might even be going on as by the time this video makes it to YouTube. It's not started as of yet, but it's starting within the next 30 to 40 minutes. So we should even learn a little bit further about Allvin and the direction we might see. We know Jim Rutherford, of course, has a long history of being a GM in the NHL, known for being very aggressive, especially during his time in Pittsburgh, where Allvin has 3 Stanley Cups to his name. So Jim Rutherford not only has Stanley Cups from Pittsburgh, but from Carolina as well. Long history in the league. During his time in Pittsburgh, very aggressive, but of course they were in a different spot in their franchise. Where having top guys like Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they were in go for it now, win now mode every year for quite some time, and he was not afraid to mortgage the future in order to make things be as strong as possible to win today. But they're going to obviously have a different approach in Vancouver. Obviously, even though Allvin is the GM, I think obviously Rutherford is still going to be heavily involved. We know that they hired assistant GM Emily Castonguay just a few days ago as well, so they certainly have a broad range of experience on their management team, a pretty diverse group. All come from different backgrounds, but all very smart, intellectual people. So we'll see where this goes. I know Rutherford's been asked a lot of questions about the direction of the team as far as what they're going to do, maybe approaching the trade deadline. And he basically, for the most part, he's kind of played things off, saying that they want to get their GM hired and get an extra voice in there to kind of determine the direction. But I think they're probably going to be like in wait and see mode here, because the Canucks have played much better under coach Bruce Boudreau. Now, that certainly gives them a big lift. They've had a couple little dips, but for the most part have been a really solid team overall. Having a hard time with goaltenders right now. Obviously, Spencer Martin came in and played really well for them here as of late, but obviously COVID's taken its toll, injuries, etc. But for the most part, the Canucks are in good shape. So I would imagine we're going to continue seeing here that they're going to continue to build with what they have. I'm not sure that we're really going to see anything drastic at the deadline, even if they don't get themselves all the way back into the playoffs. Maybe we'll see a trade or two, but I don't think we'll see anything too substantial. But we'll get more information from the press conference here as Allvin is introduced, but certainly looks like the Canucks have got themselves a fresh young general manager with a great history who's been prepped for this role for a long time. So hopefully things go well and we can move our focus now to the other empty GM roles around the league. We still have Anaheim and we still have Chicago as well. And I know when it comes to Matthew Darche, he's been linked to Anaheim too. So wouldn't be surprised if he does eventually get an opportunity somewhere. So we'll see. The Canucks, I think, got themselves a good guy here. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments and we'll discuss further. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis on all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.